first of all, let me be really straight with you, Tony. I look. So this is my tiny channel that has very few views. The biggest one I've had, other than me opening like the Imperium box you'll find on the channel, was Dan last time. Don't know why that's done really well.
Oh, that's done really well. Yeah, but that has done. I saw that one. That's good, dude.
Not going to take credit for it doing really well. I think that's all him. But it's done very well, and it's really nice. What I generally try and do is just have chats with people that I find inspiring, but not so much for like their pedigree in the community in the field of Warhammer, but more list creation. I find list creation fascinating, and when I find a list that is not traditional and has something a little bit like why
Yeah, I had a few comments about that the weekend.
I find that really interesting. So first of all, your list being called Only Cowards Pick Assassination, and you have, I think I counted, it was like 7 characters.
Only 7, yeah, that's fine.
And not even, being Eldar, not really tough ones. T3, some of them can't stand back up, some of them are suicidal, and that's their position and their role. So that was amazing to see. And I just have to be very honest with you. I saw the list, I looked through that, and that's what I became fascinated with first. And since then, I've looked into you and your name and being like, oh, you're actually someone I should have known previously anyway.
Well,
so I'm just
nah, there's no celebrities in 40k. It's just different people on toy soldiers.
There are people who
together,
potentially I should be aware of.
No. Don't be starting down that route. You'll make me blush. So.
But yeah, so you've had a great career. I don't know what you can call that. I was kind of whenever essentially, I was trying to Google you to find out a little bit more, like your history with Eldar and like how you kind of list creation, and suddenly it's like Masterclass with Tony, this thing with Tony, Vanguard with Tony, 6, and everyone's, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm not ready for this.
do you know what, dude? It's been literally 10 years since I really started pushing with tournament 40k, and it's I like running lists that are different. And I've always loved that in list creation. So like I find it interesting that's that's the thing that draws you to it. I think that's the bit of the game that I enjoy the most. I've never been a net lister. I've never been somebody who goes, oh, that guy's running that list. I'll just run the same thing. That's great. That's fine. I'll never go out and buy that or play that way. So this list, I love Eldar. I've got the only thing I didn't have for this. I didn't have quite enough Subin Hawks.
Enough.
I know, yeah. Well, you 20
to give context, we'll cover a bit more. But I think you have 20.
Yeah, I didn't quite have enough to run it, but I roped in a few mercenaries, but I'll have enough next time out. So that's already been corrected. But
love it.
I think part of my approach to 40k is I like bringing things where after the game people go, oh, actually, now I should have done that, and then I'll beat that next time. You go next time because it'll be a different list next time you see me.
Exactly.
Like I've already tweaked that list to be something different and dropped a few things out that I think I can.
That's the thing. Something I really enjoy about weird lists. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not good enough to be able to make them fancy myself. I always find like models I like and then go, right, I'll stick with them. So I've just had 15 warp spiders forever now because they're my favorite thing. Even though technically they're not. They're like scalpels, gotta be a bit careful with them. But yeah, when I was just looking through this list, we'll go through in detail, of course.
Yeah, sure.
Just things in there that didn't originally stand out as that makes sense. For example, well, no, if you're okay with it, should we just go through it from the start?
Yeah, however you'd like to do it. That's fine.
Cool. Would you prefer to take it, or should I lead through?
You lead, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. So, traditionally, you have an Autarch Wayleaper that seems to be in every Eldar list imaginable, and he's been given the Phoenix Gem. What you have is a second one.
Yes.
So there's 2 lone ops, but then can't stand back up. So you've got a 2 full wound, toughness 3, scary boys, and they're going to run. Then, as we were saying earlier, with the 7 characters, the one who I adore as a character and loved having with Yunari in ninth. You have Baharoth, or however people want to pronounce his name. I'm not going to try
No, that's
take
I'm
that
in your
away
camp,
from people. Then there's the Death Jester with Fate's Messenger. Nice touch. Love to see that one. Farseer Skyrunner, really interestingly, with the Reader of Runes. So I'd love to delve into the reasoning behind that.
Yeah, sure.
Fugan, gotta love Fugan. I love putting Fugan in lists. And then Solitaire, again, another one of my favourite models who, when I was running Harlequins, I'd find every excuse to put that thing in. And I said, recently I've gained too much of a love with Warp Spiders. Every opportunity I'll take, Solitaire or Warp Spiders. I go, Warp Spiders, just throw more of them in. So starting off with those guys, I know someone's going to feed in later on. For example, Baharoth, there's a blob of 10 swooping hawks, which again is not something that is traditionally seen. So what drove that thinking?
Okay, so I think that Eldar. So this edition I have played a bit of Tau, and then for a little bit, but because that last time I went to the WTC with England, I played Tau, and then had a break playing for a year. We had children and babies, and I coached the team a bit last year. But I came out going, well, I'm going to pick up my Eldar again. I think they're in a really good spot. I tried the Wraithguard brick for a couple of events, for a singles and a team event, and it was okay. It's not probably my favorite way to play 40k. I prefer things that are fast and can engage in the mission and play the game so that I've got the movement and I've got the impetus, or I can go, oh, I need to be over here, I can move over here. It's something that takes me back to a list I had years ago with the Eldar Planes, when I had Blades of Zipper on the board in that edition of the 7th edition. That was a really powerful list. So in this, it's...
I think there was an interview I found, one of the ones I found was with Vanguard. It was about
find
flyers and stuff.
Oh, God, yeah, that was when you could take... I think the most I ever got was 11 flyers in a list when they could all double turn and start on the board.
That was not the number I was expecting you to say.
I know, and you could go... That list was like... I think it was like 5 Rangers, a Farseer, and then 11 flyers. It was crazy. And yeah, I know, it's stupid. But that
must mean, I mean, the thing with that kind of list, though, I bet that was fun to play.
So that list came from an Irish player at the WTC, ran 9 Eldar Planes. Everybody said it was rubbish. And then when we got there to play the Irish in the first round, nobody wanted to play that list. I was like, this list is cool. I'm going to build it. And then it was downhill from there. But coming back to this one, with the balanced status that we had that killed Wraithguard, really, killed a lot of Eldars as go-to units with Night Spinners and Wraithguard Brick. You can't just stand on an objective. And you're facing a meta of things like Catan, Custodes Bricks, Orc Hordes, World Eaters with Angron, I mean, Space Marine tank car parks. There's loads of really scary stuff. So the first bit was, I need something to go and stand on objectives. And I think Eldar Lone Ops let you play that game in an interesting way. So you've got 4. The double Way Leaper is because the 2CP is massive in my list, because Fire and Fade is, I think, the new Phantasm, and I think Phantasm is still great. I still used it pretty much every turn in every game, probably all tournament.
Really?
But oh yeah,
see, every time I've used it, just because I've rolled a 1, and I've gone, cool, that's the way it is, and I just swap one model from the back over, and then they move slightly forward.
So even a 1 could be enough. So with this list, I did things like lined a ruin with 10 Warp Spiders on the outside. So if I'm going to fire, I don't need to fire and fade them, but with a 1 Phantasm, I'm out of line of sight. That's it, just behind the wall. With a 2 or 3, with a 3, I can screen so you can't charge me inside one of the UKTC ruins. There's lots of interesting plays, but even at a 2 or a 3, and even those the Rangers. There's a couple of games where I was mocking my opponents because they hadn't killed my Ranger unit after like 3 turns because they kept getting within 9 and they did a Ranger move and then a Phantasm. And I was like, oh, no. But that's more because I rolled good dice. No, the 2CP is really big. Because I wanted 2CP, I didn't want to have to sacrifice that model. And the offense of a 20-inch move with grenades and a fusion gun at half range is great. Or just the combat threat of it, or sticking him next to a unit and going, well, if you charge, again, these small base units, if they're going to base, then you put him inside of like a ring So you make a little ring of wart spiders and put the character in the middle. They can't engage the wart spiders without engaging the character.
Yeah.
At which point your fights first kicks in. So you go, well, hit them in the face. So that's the way Leaper approach. I think that also gave me it's not mad, but a backfield screening unit.
Yeah.
Because I wanted something that artillery couldn't pick up, that could sit in the corners or screen a corner. Gave him a CP, ticks all those boxes, and he didn't really die in any of the games, bar the last one, where I just kind of threw my whole army at David Gaylord's artillery gun line from Imperial Guard. But otherwise, people had so many other threats coming at them. They weren't trying to take up my CP generation at the back. And then some games, late game, you could turn forward, then he died, but turn 5 death of that character didn't really matter to me.
Yeah, you're at that point, he's ticked his box. And
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And also, I suppose, a huge advantage your list has compared to, again, meta lists of it. I know it's kind of a bit. Ooh, I'm losing my mic there. Meta list is that people aren't ready for what it does. There's no, haven't trained into it, for example, as a.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think that is, if somebody sets up and they know how to play a normal Eldar and they play a different version of Eldar, they'll figure it out by the end, but that's it. You've played that game now.
You're done now. You can move on.
Yeah, completely. And they don't quite know what Baharoth. So it's looking at it and going, I know what a D-cannon does, I know what the average shots are now, because that's something we take. I know what scourges are, because we're starting to see those a lot, because they drop, they move and shoot. But they don't quite know what Baharoth does. And they go, what does Baharoth give?
Yeah.
And everybody asked that. And I was like, it just gives them a 6-inch move, like the scourges. The unit can move and fire. But they weren't ready for the output from that unit.
It's the +1, isn't it?
So Baharoth specifically is, you take him because of the fire and I can fire and fade 2 units effectively with him and a unit. But,
wait, 2 units? Sorry, I missed that bit.
So yeah, because he can do a 6-inch fire and fade move, obviously with his unit, and then you could fire and fade something else for 2 CP. So I can move 2 blocks out, shoot 2 things, and then hide again. But it was more, I suppose, the crazy range threat that you can do. So you can auto advance with a fate dice or a CP to go 20 inches. Then you can move back 6, and then you can fire and fade 14, and you can end up 20 inches back where you started. So sometimes I just say to my opponent, can we just agree that I'm going to leave these models here? We'll measure the 20 for each of them. I'll get here, I'll shoot, and I'll put them back, rather than me physically moving it, because you're not going to overwatch. And they go, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's something Dan mentioned, and I've picked up since, where he had a load of spare bases alone, and he went, I'm putting these here, and that's where they're going to be. And I've tried it a couple of times, actually. It's been all right. So.
I think people understand that they don't want to watch you move 20 models, measure it all, move 20 models back.
Especially when you're clocked as well. It's like,
completely.
Yeah.
But it's the output on that unit is because Necrons and other big monsters are a thing, and you've got 44 shots that are lethal hits, 24-inch assault, so you can move the unit the full distance, fire the shots. Your Skyrunner gives you reroll hits, so you just fish for lethals.
Putting it on those guys, nice.
Yeah, I played Jack Tight, the Sisters Battle player, and I took a Rhino down to 2 wounds, and he had to use some dice to save it. Just his first turn, I was like, well, I can see it, I might as well shoot something, and I was like, oh look. I mean, he did obligingly fail a lot of saves, but I rolled a lot of lethals.
See, that's another great one to see. It's because I guess as I said, we were saying the meta one is traditionally to have 3 D-cannons as the options, and maybe the Skyrunner is going to support and give those guys up the rerolls. So having that on a block of 10 swooping hawks with the +1, so they're hitting on 3s now. Is that the one?
Yep, 2s, hitting on 2s. So because there's no assault penalty, you hit on 3s, you go to 2s with Baharoth. So then at that point you go in, well, because you have to declare that you're going to reroll.
Yeah, of course.
Before, so you just got, I'm going to reroll anything that isn't a 6, and you're just fishing for 6s with 44 shots, and it is a little bit of upturn of luck. You're getting a lot of hits. So you go back to things like Catans or other monsters that they rely on a high toughness of being hard to wound, or even in that, if they've got a lot of these monsters, big demon monsters particularly as well, have like a 3+ save or 4+ saves. So forcing 15, 16 saves on them could be quite impactful.
I've been playing Jack Sayer recently. He's a local. He's actually just taken the top spot for demons, and coming up against his 3 great unclean ones, it's everything you can.
You'll know what? Yeah. That's it. Look, the D cannons are probably one of the best units in the book for Eldar at the moment. I'm not going to come on and say they're terrible, don't take them. I just
No,
didn't
no,
want
but again, you not having them, I do
to.
think there's that thing of, because people have played them. As I said, I played Jack with them, and I even played my the last tournament. Played a guy called Darren, who's very good with his Drakari. He just stayed 24 inches away. He just
That's
knows.
exactly. I played a practice game
That's the
against.
difference.
We did an England versus France team game. I played a tattle player, and I got a small win with the Eldar, but he just never gave me anything, and my D cannons had to sit behind walls. And yeah, I brought one on from reserve, and it got to shoot a Riptide nearly dead, and then it died. But good players, I think, will go, okay, so they're there and there. And what I said to a lot of people was, I don't think that the D cannons help me win my bad matchups. I think they just make my good matchups easier.
That's an interesting thought.
And I think that meant I could drop them. And the Haywire bikes are kind of a nod to the fact that you need some ranged anti-tank that is beyond 12 inches of a melted gun. We should come to that. Sorry, because that's just even more. No, I'll start rambling through different bits of the list.
And I love it. That's another whole thing. Yeah, so I'll carry on just so it allows us to talk about everything, and then we can bring them in. So we have 2 squads of fire dragons, with the whole lot having fusion guns rather than something different for the Exarch. The Ranger squad, which cheap as anything, you gotta love Rangers. 4 Skyweavers, all with the Zephyr Glaives and Haywire. I'd say I love those guys. I used to take just two squads of 2 for 9th edition Harlequins, so they could just go to the other end of the board. 1 huge squad of Swooping Hawks of 10 of them, and then 2 5-man squads. The one that confused me on your list, actually, for ages, because I couldn't tell, but was the 10-man squad of Warp Spiders.
Yes.
And then 2 5-man squad of Warp Spiders, because I was going through it and I was like, this set doesn't add up. He's missing like 100-something points. And I was like, oh, there's 10 Warp Spiders. Yeah. Like, who has that many Warp Spiders?
I first used 10. I first used 10 at Nottingham. I came out going, they're too swingy. And I think, actually, I couldn't use them well, because I had a Wraithguard brick, and Wraithguard needed to Phantasm every turn, the full 6 inches, and potentially Phantasm or even Fire and Fade. You couldn't do that and protect a 10 Wraith. There was never a tough game, especially when you could go, well, Wraithguard will just sit still and not do anything, or won't pressure something, and my Spiders will just be able to go out and use all the strats. But now in this list, my other big block can move itself or protect itself a little bit.
Yeah.
So my Spiders were much more impactful, and I could mitigate the potential for bad rolls on 11d6 with extra units and overlapping fire. So they were really good, actually. I'd probably stick with 10.
Rolling for those 6s just to get the devastating wounds in.
Yeah, because the game at the moment, especially in the UK, is lots of ruins. It's ruin everywhere. Terrain is ruins, because ruins are nice and easy, and it provides line of sight blocking. Tick tick tick. So you've got to go. Tanks have virtually always got cover. Models are always touching cover, or there's a model out on line of sight. So Eldar struggle for ignores cover, and you have to either move around it with things like the Spiders or the Hawks, or ignore it with things like the D cannons and just go, well, you can save it on 6s maybe, or invuns. Is the thinking there?
Yeah, it was. I mean, as I said, in honesty, you've been playing. As I said, looking up the pedigree from your history. No wonder you've got the models, but it was kind of like I don't know anyone who has that many of those models available to them. So I think that's brilliant that you firstly have it, so you can just you can make these mad lists, and I call them mad. It obviously did really well, but mad to the point that they're not the traditional sense of something where someone's going to say, I'm going to get tons of models that are, I think the Spiders are now 30 years old or something. So having that many.
It's some of my favourite aspect models, though, those ones. I really love the old second edition metal Banshees as well. There's some I've got a full set of those if they ever make them ever usable.
See, the Spiders have been, I think every game they've just been really nice for me. So the last weekend, there was I pulled what was it? Capture any outpost and take an objective that I can't remember what it's called now, but take an objective they control. And in one move from the Spiders going 24 and then 2 CP to jump them again, I took the enemy outpost and had that, so it was like a 13-point swing in one move, and
that's massive, isn't it?
The Spiders are wonderful for that. And then the enemy goes, they die next turn. They go, yeah, but 100 points to get me 13 VP. I'll take it.
So, well, I mean, the Hawks do that as well, and that's the thing with the list. So there were some games where a couple of games where I played a combat army when I needed to screen, and like 5 Hawks would just go and hang outside a ruin, waving their guns in the air, going, "You can't come through us. The heresy rules." And then the other games where again you drop them in from reserve, and you go, "Cool, I'm 9 away. I'll move 14 into objective. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Capture enemy outpost, secure no man's land, stop you defend." There's so many
Grenade options as well with those guys.
Well, so it coming back to the list construction, it's layers and layers of the same options. So it's movement first. I've got a range of damage profiles. I've got anti-tank, I've got anti-infantry. I've got grenades all over the place. I think it's really important that Eldar do have some combat options, because some armies will want to push at you. So things like I did play the Sisters and I played the Dark Eldar as well. And early doors, the Haywire bikes were really good. Fire and fading them, maybe not something else, so that they could go put out. It was quite good. Like with Eldar with Venoms, I could draw a line. Dark Eldar, sorry, I could draw a line on 2 Venoms and popped 2 in one turn, which was big because in one turn I killed 2 Venoms, 2 Incubi, 2 Archons, and a unit of Scourges.
Wow!
Between shooting, moving unit of Spiders up, and the Solitaire just going ham in the backfield, and Baharoth's unit just going.
I was going to say, so so the Solitaire is really giving you melee options. Are you using the bikes for the melee option as well, or are you
late game
for the Haywires?
I think people have a really unhealthy fear of the Haywire. Like I played the Necron player played game 5. Chris was very much like the Silent King and 2 Destroyer Arcs right in the corner, measuring all the angles on them, going, "Those Haywire bikes are never getting anywhere near." Like you could be a bit further, you could play a bit more with them, but they're very good for that role. And if you want to just threaten or people push at you with tanks, they just pop out, they shoot, they go back. They're not touching them. And then late game, it's things like, if you've got guide on them, being able to charge them with the actual reasonable amount of attacks they've got now, because they've got extra attacks over a previous edition. So it's not bad with the Zephyr Glaives. And the Haywire guns being dev wounds anyway, but strength 3 -1, flat 3 damage.
Yeah,
they're actually not bad into some tougher targets or characters or things that want to push you if you can get some dev wounds in. And when you've got fake guys,
I was going to say, yeah, my friend Darren who played the weekend, he just takes out characters with his Scourges with Haywires. And I think seeing them, I was like, oh, protect my vehicle. It's support weapons. It was at the time. And then he just goes, no, they're for characters. They just sort that out. So cool, okay.
My thing is, like, come back to what we started with. I think with the characters, you can't. Eldar struggle to sit on objectives at the moment. They struggle to go, I'm holding this objective. So my option is, I'll throw some chaff out and I'll stop you scoring, and I'll use my lone ops to kind of play for 2. And then I've got a reasonable amount of damage and threat that if you've got the ability to go and stand on all of the objectives, I'll pick one and I'll put my whole army on that objective or around it. And I'll make it so that at the end of it, maybe there's a little bit of chaff left that you can see, and a character that you probably have to kill twice or is alone up. And that proves to be a winning combination for the run of the weekend.
I suppose on a point to that with the character choices, were you putting Fugan in with the Fire Dragons? Because a lot of other lists that would have Fire Dragons would have them in some sort of transport falcons, wave serpents, so forth.
Yeah.
You're missing that currently. Was it a case of dropping them later with Fugan, or how were you managing?
I think if you wanted to play it like that, you could, and it's 5 ablative wounds for Fugan. And I think if I played something like Grey Knights or similar, I might have stuck them in with him. If anything where I think I could lose Fugan early to a snipe or a character dropping in or some reserves, like Hyperphase Necrons. I did play that, but out in Melter, my Haywire bikes would force them back a bit, and that worked quite well. So I didn't attach him. I also think that because the way I've got it is that the squads all have melter guns, so they can do the full assault move and fire their guns, and he doesn't.
Yes.
And which is a crying shame, because if he could assault move his melter like the way Leapers can, then he would be the best character in the book. I mean, as he is, he's like.
The truth is, he should have been nerfed. I'm surprised he hasn't been. And if he had that, then it'd been awful.
Well, come on, Games Workshop. You could do it. Just give him a little buff. New model.
Josh, he's got to bend Josh's arm now, isn't it? That's good.
I'll try.
I'll try. My friend played him at where was he now? Anyway, doesn't really matter. He played him like in the first round, and he said it was the a totally new experience to gaming. Like in the local area, he's very good, and then he played Josh, and it was 115, and he was like, I don't know what happened. It was it was a whole new world.
Well, Josh is. I mean, I've been good friends with Josh for a number of years. He's a meticulous gamer anyway, and he was always very particular and very measured, and like everything is precise. And he's got a game plan, and he's very practiced with. He likes to run one list and practice it through.
Oh, so he's been with the same list for a while now. Even
yes, he has.
Last weekend, yeah.
If you play him, he'll be going through the motions, and he'll already go, this time I'm going to pick up all the points, bang, bang, bang. And like, it probably a bit of a, I got 15 points, exactly like he's saying.
Yeah, you'd be glad you got 15. That's the.
Well, he's a very nice fellow while that's happening, so that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, no, so we have, Fugue and Nuki being separate, and then Baharoth is, and then I was assuming you had him with the
always in the
squad.
Hawks. Yeah, if you were playing something where you were, there might be a matchup sometime where you were worried about protecting and assassinate, for example. But I think just the buffs that he brings, you have to just put them in the big unit, and then you can always start them in reserve or skyleap them first turn if you need to. But they generally just run around the board, hiding behind walls. So yeah, Baharoth in the big unit, Death Jester, everything else is just on the board. All of it. I think one game I reserved the Farseer, and then I went, I shouldn't have reserved him. Should have just stuck him on the board, and that was the
really?
Necrons. Yeah, because again, people aren't. There's a reroll hit character with a flamer. Like a 24-inch D6 shotgun. He's offensively not that scary. He's not really scoring any objectives. He's just giving reroll hits. That's not their biggest concern when they can see 20 War Spiders and a load of Hawks and the Haywire Bikes and the Solitaire.
A million other threats that.
Yeah. But he's a great buff, so you can put the buff on the Hawks, but you can also put it on the Death Jester, who was probably my favourite model over the weekend. He was so good.
Nice.
I did roll a lot of 6s with him though, which probably has swung. Like
is that the old? I can't. Is that? I'll put it below because I'm awful at remembering names. But their elder channel where he kind of speaks about you roll this and you get a 6, and you can definitely get another 6, and then you turn that one into a 6, and suddenly you've got 27 shots, and it's wonderful.
Well, there was just some games that was like, okay, I've got 3 shots. Oh, I've got 9 shots. Oh, I've got, it's and people go sustained what? You go sustained, not sustained 1, sustained 2, sustained 3. It's good.
That's what I love with the Fugan when you kind of go, it's sustained, and they go, with what? D3. Oh, okay. Phew.
And then you roll, a couple of 6s, and then the 5s and 6s and the sustained, and they're like, this is broken. Eldar, stupid Eldar.
This model's not fair.
But funnily, nobody picked assassination against me all weekend, and not because of the list title, but because nobody wanted to be pushed into fixed. They were all worried that I would. Because my army doesn't really give up anything else. They were worried that I would just hide a load of characters, which has got the facility to do, and go, right, I'll just screen out your deploy, or I'll stop you coming for engage.
That's
or I'll
really interesting.
Yeah, so nobody picked it. Everybody went tactical. And it might just be that people don't like to play fixed if they're not used to it.
Well, there's also the option if you play tactical, you can get extra CPs. That's just a bit more breathing room, I suppose, with variety. But I'm actually really surprised they didn't, like, not even one, an early game or something thought,
nope.
You know what, for a bit of a laugh, let's see what happens. And because the advantage we have with Fugan dies twice, that's 2 characters dead, and the Whaley had the Phoenix gems, that's another 2, so but there you go.
Lets you be, but it's interesting, lets you be more aggressive. Like the Solitaire was often dead. I think every game, like turn 2 or turn 3, the Solitaire was dead.
That's his job, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that. Stick reroll hits on him, throw him out. 3, because you're averaging 2 misses. If you roll a little below and you go 3 or 4 misses, his damage massively plummets. So you probably need reroll hits. I learned that from the first couple of events where I ran him. But he was really good because Eldar needs something that's annoying. And
I'm really dumb here. Where's his reroll hits coming from?
Guide.
Sorry. Can you wait? I thought guide was purely on shooting.
No, reroll hits.
Oh, I did not know that.
Okay. So you just go.
I read that really wrong. I've read that as just purely shooting.
each time one makes an attack, you maybe read it in the aftermath just to make sure. So to make an attack. So the same thing.
If you were wrong, I'll take this out. By the way,
Tony Chu cheater.
It definitely says this. Oh crap!
I'm looking over it now because I was thinking, well, because you can do it on the Zephyr on the bikes, makes that much more efficient on the haywire.
No, you're totally right. It just in my head because I've been doing the decanter thing, and I actually had some Dark Reapers in my one as well, so they were useful into card. So I was just putting them on shooting every time because that's what made sense. But yes, if you're running the list doesn't have to rely on that kind of key piece. It makes sense to not,
And it lets you again. So sometimes I put it on the Death Jester, going, okay, well I can now actually fish for the 6s.
Yeah.
Re-roll everything every time. It just silly things like that gives you little buffs here and there. But it does make those units that hit on 3s definitely more reliable.
Mm-hmm.
And the Solitaire just makes him hit a little bit harder. Useless on the Warp Spiders, but there you go. I'll have to take a hit somewhere. The amount of times everybody went, have you got +1 to wound somewhere? Have you got like a reroll wounds? I'm like, no. If Eldar had that anymore, we'd be absolutely flying.
It'd be so good.
Oh god, if Eldar still had Doom in the way that it used to work, that'd be great. But,
so you were saying earlier about melee options. I know everyone calls it different things, melee, whatever. Is there not something, and obviously points wise, I know, but like Scorpions and maybe I'm gonna say his name wrong, Karandras, yeah. So right, I think with all of those options, you want your melee options to be able to engage first, and I think Scorpions sit and get charged. Banshees probably are the best ones to do that and would have worked in this list, but generally need to be in a Falcon to get reroll wounds because otherwise they're a bit pillar-fisted. Thugan's good because he's just high AP and high damage with and Strength 5 is a bit of a shame, but you work with that. The Autox, okay, they're passable. They're good at I would say skirmish fighting rather than taking any sort of big hitter. They'll chip a vehicle. And you probably just need that. What did you have on yours? I totally missed what you had on them.
On the way,
Banshee marks on both, right?
Yeah. Banshees.
I wasn't sure if you may have put one, switched one for the
Fights first. Fights first is so big for things that go, I'll just come and tag it, I'll kill it. I'll charge it with 10 breaches, just try and go, and you go, cool, I've killed 4 or 5. It really, really big. And then I think you just need melee to finish things off sometimes, rather than a load of melee bricks. There are too many armies that have a good fight first counter or a strat or a fight on death. And as you've alluded to, Eldar are really squishy, so I don't think they can really take that hit. So the things that are fighting are usually my characters that I don't care about losing, like a Solitaire, or they get back up if you do kill them. So they come, they charge in, or they've tagged you, or they're there, and they're just keeping you locked up in that area for at least your turn. And then I can come over and finish you because you stayed over there to kill that character. So you didn't need more than that. But we did have, when I played the Sisters Battle, it was things like, in one turn I had Baharoth and the Hawks and the bikes all charged Celestine and friends over 2 turns. So Baharoth, there was a gap, so I blocked the Celestine and 10 Seraphim out for a couple of turns. So they ingressed, got shot by 44 shots with reroll hits, charged by them with fake dice on a 10-inch charge. Killed everybody down. Baharoth and all the mates died, but then the next turn 10 Warp Spiders and 4 bikes came over and charged and wiped it all out. And it's just that, do you know what I mean? You're just forcing the bad trades with armies and go, oh cool, my Warp Spiders are on the ruin on one side, they've all teleported over, they're all in range, and then they're going to go back behind this middle ruin and you still can't engage them. It's that level of frustrating Eldar play, maybe is what we should say. The pointy way.
But that's there's a whole thing of people didn't like Eldar at the very beginning of the edition because they had a lot going for them that gave abilities to arguably too strong. I'm not going to think everyone would say that. The way your list is built is very much, I think, what people would want Eldar to be, and would and so you are being tricksy, you are being a bit frustrating maybe to some if they're not ready for it, but that's what they're for, and that's what the great thing's about. I mean, as I said, it's not on the same level, I'm not going to anything like that, but last weekend I had some rangers and some spiders in one place for ruin. the guard moved all his stuff around to be able to shoot them, and I went,
Yeah.
cool, you're within 9 inches, they're going to move over, and these guys are going to phantasm over as well. You can't do anything. And it's just like, it's like I told you I could do it from the beginning. It's all available to you. Here's my list, and you can see it, and it's just this lovely moment you go, no.
That is, and that's, I suppose, where people worry when they play Elder, like, what's he going to do? What's the mistake going to be? Where's the unit going to move? Or, and it's when you tell them, it's, again, with the thing like the Water Spiders, you go, I'm going to line them all up touching this wall, so if they get a 1-inch phantasm, they can go inside. And if you say it sometimes, you just think, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be able to do anything with it. So, yeah.
But then they know, you've been honest and said, I'm planning on doing this move, and they have the option. But yeah,
2 different times actually, I had opponents say to me, I feel bad here. I'm going to. I put 5 dragons on the table because I was like, I'm going to forget these, otherwise they're going to go here. I know I should do that last and give you the Overwatch options, but you're just going to Overwatch here. And they were like, yeah, are you sure? Are you sure? Like, I don't care. Whatever. I don't mind. It's fine. And those 5 dragons were terrible. They did nothing for me all weekend.
Really?
They just. I think I had a run of going 5 shots. 4 1s and 2s. I'll reroll 1. No. It's still a 1 or a 2. I think that they killed a Manir. I think that's about all they did all weekend. I think strength 9 against things that you want to wound that are tough as 10 or higher is a great place for anti-tank units to be.
Yeah.
So if they had a little buff or +1 to wound or something, or even just were strength 10, no, I'd be very happy if they were strength 10 or so, because then they could actually go, they're fair. A unit of anti-tank specialists that have bad guns into tanks never really makes sense to me. But like I said, if they had some sort of +1 to wound mechanic or something like that for the future, that'd be it. But for now, I think that's probably a unit that they're on the chopping block after the weekend.
I mean, I don't want to. Something I'd love to go through, kind of like almost if you've got time, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
Because I've made you wait so long, and I'm so sorry. But
it is the first day of the Easter holidays. Don't you worry about it.
I just want to be really clear.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'd love to know about how kind of the original kind of creation. Then we've touched on it a little bit, like what inspires the thinking. Like, is it a case of you start with, I really want to play with this unit, I really want to play this unit, and then I'll build around it, and then also a idea of what adjustments you might make if you were to play them again, like this coming weekend.
So this list came from another one I previously ran that had 3D cannons in it, but it had the block of Eldar, the block of Swooping Hawks, the block of Water Spiders. Didn't have the bikes, didn't have all the characters, because you take all the bikes and a few of the characters out, and you're basically at 3D cannons. Yeah. But I had Fugan and a Wayleaper and a Farseer, and I found that I needed to play the game with my Wayleaper, so he died, and then I was struggling for CP, so my units didn't work how I wanted to. And then I was like, well, this is a really frustrating way to play it. So the first thing was, I'm taking a second Wayleaper. He's just sitting.
Sorry, Norfolk Internet.
That's okay.
So you're taking a second Wayleaper.
Yeah, taking a second Wayleaper because I think 115 points to give me 2 CP a turn is massive. And then from there, it was, well, more lone ops lets me be annoying and put just something that they have to bring a chunk of their army to engage with. And I can just Phantasm. I can just go, I won't go on that objective. Equally, you can put that lone up behind a wall and Phantasm onto the objective. And then that's a completely separate issue of they still have to commit something. Mandrake, Scouts, a tank has to come out and tag that objective, or I'll just throw something onto it. So that was the tweaks, and the characters were a list of Knight of Submission change. To be honest with you, I got up to the 10 Water Spiders. I really liked the Bahareth unit. I wanted to practice that more. I'd used it, and it had been really effective. It got me the win in that game I'd mentioned against France.
Yeah,
and I from there I needed to just fill out the points, and I had like 230 points. I was like, well, Fugan, you can go back in, and Solitaire, you're going in. There we go. Death Jester, I definitely wanted to try because I wanted Fate's Messenger or something that actually could use Fate's Messenger. Yeah. And I think, again, because the list is lacking in options for long-range shooting, being able to pick something that can go, I'm pretty much relying on at least 5 or 6 hits, and I can make one of them a guaranteed dev wound, and I can precision a character if I need to.
Yeah.
All kind of made that a great utility unit. So
actually, on the characters, we were saying, how come you put the Reader of Runes on the Farseer?
Oh, so Reader of Runes lets you reroll the fate dice.
Yes, yeah.
So that's massive. And when you've got 6 fate dice and you go, as I do, 4, 3, 3, 3, 2, it's like, okay, every turn, every command phase, because that character's never dying, you just get to re-roll it. So you're going great. And because of the game designer fact that you can use abilities in reserve, so you can just re-roll it. So even if he's hiding, he can still go, I re-roll a fate dice, and you can still stick that on there. So that was really impactful because
that did come into effect then.
Yeah, because my first game against my first opponent, the first dice I re-rolled was a 6. So he was like, "Oh, Eldar," but like it didn't always do that. But I think just having the ability to manipulate a fate dice is useful on top of the Farseer ability. You need a Farseer. I've played without one on my previous list that had the the Incarn Avatar, Wraithguard Brick, Night Spinners, but before it was like the weekend of the nerf. It was like the ITT, the UKTC Team Champs event. And I ran that old brick list. You didn't have the points for a Farseer, and it was an extra assassinate. But in this list, he just sits at the back. He gives up reroll hits. He gives something the fate dice buff if they need it. So usually a solitaire, possibly a fugun, if he needs it, or top, whatever. That's all really useful. And then the relic is pricey for 20 points, but you're just going, well, it is useful. It can be impactful on the game. Yeah. That clutch fate dice on the unit on the side of the board, if I can roll a 5 or a 6, can be the massive advance you need, or could be the damage roll you need. So I'd keep that every time.
That's interesting to know, yeah, because it's not something. I think every time I've kind of looked into it, it was like, he's going to give me the 6 anyway. Again, it's a very different list anyway, so that does make a difference.
I think because you know that he's going to be around your home objective area, because I generally put him in that blob, and then my units. So especially UKTC terrain, when I build my list, I do think about the terrain sets we're working in and where I'm probably going to deploy most of my army and where I'm going to stage from. So I can take staging points in the midboard with big units of small base models, even with spiders and hawks. Yeah. You still probably want a bigger ruin or one of the big kind of angled L's. So if Farseer is probably not going to transition out to be like pushing those. It's not like when you have the one, the Farseer on foot that needs to give -1 to wound to an Avatar. I need to kind of chase him across the board, going, "Stay alive, Avatar." And I don't think Eldrad's currently worth it. I don't think that the Guardians are 110 points that you can afford to have just sitting there.
Yeah. Because
Eldar they don't have the bodies. You just need to throw everything forward. You need to be able to go. The whole army can be offensive if it needs to be.
Yeah.
So even if you take a D-cannon build, you're still not taking any chaff. There's no 5 scouts is probably the most chaff that people will take. And even then, if you go first, they can score you an engage or behind enemy lines or a deploy teleport homers. So
they're
really
blocking
good.
From World Eaters.
Well, I mean, blocking from World Eaters is how they first made their way into the list. Yeah, because Josh, who we've already mentioned, went, you need 5 scouts. You 100% need 5 scouts to play World Eaters.
See, yeah, I switched to 10. This is my one recently because I think Josh was speaking with a guy called Ben Pierce who tried out a list at Nottingham that I think he'd actually named something like Josh is God and Josh knows best. And it was 10 Rangers, and he was like, I needed it for the World Eaters, and I've tried it myself. And again, even with 10 and World Eaters, sometimes it's like, it just doesn't feel like enough.
Yeah, I think you have to. I suppose it's not a block then, it's more of a funnel. You're just going to go this way. They're going to go this flank, and I'll just deploy back from it. But they're a great mid-board unit, the Rangers. Mm-hmm. So I'd probably, for tweets for the future, the Fire Dragons are going to go. They were handy, but I just looked at all those games where they bounced was really useful because they didn't really win me any of those games. So that's 170 points that I'd go, well, that's gone. I think I'm probably going to try Illic Night Spear and 10 Rangers in a big blob. I haven't got a problem with Eldar blobs. However, I just think a big old unit of Lonot that can infiltrate and has reroll wounds on their 36 range precision guns that are damage 2 seems like it's something that I could make use of in an army. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The precision actually, it's come off really nice sometimes. I managed to kill Lord Avocado, Invocatus, or
Lord Invocatus,
with a blob of Rangers once, and the guy was like, "That's not meant to happen."
Well, anything that gives you reroll wounds in an
Hmm.
army where you can also have reroll hits, and you can go, okay, and I can double move that unit with potentially you get in 9, I move, and then I can phantasm as well, or I can fire and fade them. I'm going, this has actually got potential for being for what's essentially going to be 180 points. Like
Well,
the
he's 75.
Are
Yeah.
they, I think he's 70, isn't he? I think he's
Was
70,
he 70?
and they're
Oh,
110, so 180.
yeah.
So I think if I
You
drop
probably,
the
to
two fire
be honest,
dragons,
I'll
I
bow
need
to
to
you on that one. I'm
find.
not. You're going to know more than me in that one.
Yeah, I need to find like 10 points, and it might be the Farseer has to give up his relic. Boo. Um, or I might drop
That's
something.
actually
I'm
been a
not
real
sure.
frustration. Not having a 10-point enhancement
Yeah,
is just
yeah.
really annoying. Sometimes you're just like, I've got 10 points spare. Just give me a little, no, nothing. Um, yeah, that's a nice idea. That though, yeah. And then you're on 8 characters at least. So that's oh no, 9 is it now? So yeah, another one anyway. So
Well, no, I've written a list. It has 9 characters. Yeah, if nobody's picking Assassinated Seven, but it's like, where's the choice point where you go? I've just got to pick it, haven't I? But then you still got the same principle. You're still going to have 4 lone ops. You're still going to have one in a big unit.
mhm,
You have 2 and another one in a lone op big unit on an objective. And I
yeah,
think things that let you give me another reach unit. To be honest with you, I think I am toying with dropping the 10-man spiders down to a 5, not because the 10 were underwhelming, just because I think I might swing the other way and put a D cannon or 2 in just to give it some options.
yeah,
Um, Popping transports was something that I was lucky with over the weekend. It wasn't too impactful, but I think if somebody's staging with a transport full of something really fast, really hard hitting, I've got to screen it and try and damage it. That's that.
transports have been really tricky because I was thinking how I've got a friend Corbin who runs 5 transports in his Space Marine list. That's where he got to.
Yeah, well, this is it. So, I mean, if you've got 5 transports, it's you either got to screen them and just go, you can't get out the transport, or you have to try in some way to kill it with all your kind of little guns or your dev wound guns and hope you roll high. The
Yeah,
way I was doing it mostly was I was popping things with haywire and screening, and that's generally worked well because eventually the bait is there of 5 hawks need to die or 5 spiders need to die,
yeah.
and they don't quite die to shooting, and they're always touching cover, and it's they want to hit things with their assault units. So 1 or 2 D cannons might creep back in. There's a list. I don't know if you use Tawny Keeper a lot. There's
I
big.
know of it. I haven't really
Yeah,
used it, but
it's a something that they use a lot in Europe because one of the guys who run it is I think he's one of the Danish guys runs it, and
okay.
it's essentially there's a big 5-man teams event going down the Alpine Cup, and they've got loads and loads of lists in there if you're interested in finding some WTC
Yeah,
style lists, and there's loads of different Eldar ones in there. Manny's running a kind of a haywire heavy list in that format because vehicles are all the rage. So
is he really? What's he taking on that? So Drakari, I'm assuming.
oh yeah. So imagine the hybrid of what I was running
Mm-hmm.
with Dan's Dark Eldar version,
Yeah.
with anything that can have haywire has haywire. That's the best way I can describe that
Here
list.
comes the 6 Talos with their haywires.
Your friend,
Oh no, you can't do it with the Inaris, can you?
your friend with his 5 transports would be sad. That's all I
Yeah.
can say about that list. D cannons, haywire scourges, haywire bikes, fire dragons, and then war spiders. It's just,
Yeah.
I
I just
think it's
that's something that has drawn me to Elder so much is the fact there's I know they've become much more elite recently with the points changes, but the ability to have such a variety, like so I have knights as well. I was looking at them there, and you kind of go, I can take this and that, and there's really more options because of where the points are at, and then you throw a henchman blob in because you've got 40 points spare. Cool, but with Eldari, it just completely changes every time.
well. I think you asked me earlier. I think about thinking about how I came up with some of the list choices for this one. That like with the Baharoth unit, nobody's running that as a thing, and I haven't seen
No,
it anywhere and gone, I'm inspired. But it's just it. I was looking through the book, going, well, all these aspects are fixed, and most of the Eldar units, there's the Corsairs probably have the most options for a unit in the book, but they're arguably quite expensive for what they do and don't have
yeah,
fate dice unless you attach a character to them. But you go, well, I felt looked at Baharoth and it gives fire and fade, and that's a thing that's really cool. And then it was the lethal hits on those units started to be, well, that could be really effective if I can put it in. And then I was like, a 10-man unit to 150 points, which is not, and 5 spiders is 115. I'm like, I can stretch to that. I can stretch 5 spiders into 10 hawks, and then it was downhill from there. And 20 hawks later.
The thing is, I guess that's that thing of the way I've been playing this is 75 points. You think, well, they come off the board, they come back down somewhere else. Then it's literally a point scorer, and you've just used them in a totally different way. And that's, I think, something beautiful, really. So it's lovely to see.
Well, my other party gift for you is I might try dropping the Fire Dragons and taking 3 units of 2-man Warlock Conclaves at 60 points each for a 2-man unit with Flamers that just come on that aren't characters and just go behind enemy lines, charge, engage, play. Because again, having a little I when I played the Sisters player and I played the Custodes, just having that odd little like chaff unit that's annoying behind a wall that I have to commit 5 spiders even to is still a frustration for me. That's probably the cheapest unit in the book, short of the ranges.
Are they 60 points? The conclave?
60 for 2 dudes with probably spears and the D6 shot destructors and a 4+ run and the 2 wounds each. And you're like, well, they're okay compared to some rangers, and you can do the same thing. They can block deep strikes. They can screen the back corner. You know, the 2 units of that is the cost of 1 character. So there's ways to put more chaff in and reduce my character count from 9 in my current version. So
I love the character count. I think it's perfect. It's not enough, if anything.
Well, this is it. I've got a version with 9, and it's got more lone ops, and it's there. I'm also trying to tie a version with Uriel, so I can put potentially 3 units into reserve and just go right. So I really am all lone off on the board. That's to try and give me a chance in the guard matchup, maybe. So that's something to try as well.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. I won't take any more of your time.
Did you have any more questions? That's all right. That's fine.
I'll be honest, I could talk to you for ages.
That's right.
Because, as I said, it's just something that, for me, it's odd lists that I find interesting because it changes the way of thinking. As I said, my head of how Hawks play is one way, and like I'll play Mandrakes in a very similar way. They come up, come down, take an objective. That scores me engage. That scores me something else. Having a blob of 10 is like that's totally different, very different way of playing them. Putting in Baroth, it's again another way of playing it, and it's just changing the way a unit is utilized. And I think a lot of people think of Hawks in a way of just come up, come down. You know, there's I know that around here there's a team called Black Crow Gaming, and a lot of the guys will talk about that, and they've said in their podcast recently how if I forget to tell you I'm taking it up, then it just imagine it's come up already, you know, and but you don't do that with a 10 block of birds because you can't then get it back in and you can't make that movement. So suddenly the 14-inch movement they have, which often is kind of almost completely missed, comes into play. So I think when a unit is used in a different way, it's fascinating. Plus, as you said about the support weapons, as I think a lot of people experience, and I've experienced myself, even with people who aren't, when I'm playing very good players, they just totally ruin the support weapons game, and then other players who maybe aren't traditionally used to them, third turn in, they know what they're doing, and they just go, I'm not going to stay away from that thing. So you've suddenly wasted 300 and something points.
And they can, and for 375, you can roll 3 shots and get 3 hits, and they all save, and you don't roll death wounds. All right.
Or on what was that one I had? I can't remember the name of it. Really big guard tank who just goes, I'm just going to ignore that damage. This time,
the Rogel Dawn.
Dawn. Right, okay, that's my whole game plan.
Yep.
It's like, I aimed everything. No, just ignore it, mate. Okay, fine.
Haywire is the future, is what I'm going to say about that. So, the more the better.
Perfect.
Lovely to chat to you.
Thank you so much. Seriously, I really appreciate it. And
well, if you could, if there's ever anybody through Team England you need to chat to again in the future, hit me up or whatever. That's cool.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye, buddy. Take care.
Have a great evening. See you.
Bye now.